You know that feeling when the air in a room gets so thick you can barely breathe? That's how it started for me. At Grandpa's funeral in that stuffy little church on the outskirts of Portland. The rain was pounding the stained glass windows like it was trying to break in, and the scent of wilting lilies hung heavy, choking the life out of the place. I stood there in the back pew, my black dress clinging to me from the downpour outside, watching my family up front like they were actors in some twisted play. My mother, Karen, sat ramrod straight, her pearls gleaming under the dim lights, whispering something to my sister, Sophia, who nodded with that smug little smile she always wore. No one looked back at me. Not once. And when the usher handed me a program, I flipped through it, my heart sinking like a stone in the Willamette River. My name, Emily, was nowhere. Not under grandchildren. Not anywhere. It was like I'd been erased with a single stroke of a pen. I pinned the guest tag to my lapel anyway, the words staring back at me like an accusation. Guest? In my own grandfather's farewell? The organ droned on, and the priest droned about legacy and love. But every word twisted the knife deeper. Sophia got up to speak, her heels clicking like gunfire on the marble floor. Grandpa trusted me with everything, she said, her voice cracking just enough for sympathy, dabbing her eyes with a tissue she'd probably practiced within the mirror. The congregation murmured, nodding along. But I knew the truth. She hadn't been there for those late-night talks, the ones where Grandpa shared his war stories from Vietnam, or the quiet evenings when I'd bring him his favorite clam chowder from the local diner and read him Hemingway because his eyes were failing. No. She'd been too busy chasing promotions at her fancy marketing job in Seattle, dropping in only when she needed something. I bit my lip until I tasted blood, forcing myself to stay silent. Grandpa always said, Emily, your quiet is your power. Let them talk themselves into corners. The service dragged on. And when it came time for the casket viewing, I waited in line like a stranger. Whispers floated around me. She was never around, probably doesn't even know his middle name. My cheeks burned, but I kept my head high. When I finally reached him, I touched the cold wood, whispering, I was there. Grandpa. More than they know. Turning away, I caught Karen averting her eyes, fussing with her handbag. Sophia was already laughing softly with a cousin, like the whole thing was a cocktail party. Outside, the rain soaked me to the bone as I walked to my car. But it wasn't the weather that chilled me. It was the realization. They weren't just ignoring me. They were rewriting history, painting me as the absent one, the unworthy one. And in that moment, alone in the parking lot with water dripping down my face, something inside me hardened. This wasn't goodbye. This was the spark of a fire they didn't see coming. The reception hall felt like stepping into a minefield disguised as a potluck. Folding tables groaned under plates of finger sandwiches and coffee urns, the air thick with forced small talk. I hovered near the back, nursing a styrofoam cup of lukewarm brew. When my eyes landed on the memorial board, a collage of photos, timelines, family trees. I scanned it twice, 3 times. My name? Missing again. A cousin, Mike, sidled up, chuckling awkwardly. Weird. Huh? Must be a glitch. But Karen swept in. Her voice clipped. Printing error. Emily, don't make a scene. She turned away, greeting an old neighbor like nothing happened. I stood there, staring at the board, feeling like I'd been punched in the gut, erased from paper, from memory. It reminded me of that old saying Grandpa loved, the tongue has no bones, but it can break bones. Their words, or lack of them, were shattering me piece by piece. Then came the group photo. The photographer herded us like cattle, barking orders. I moved toward the center, But Sophia elbowed in, whispering, "Stick with the extended family. It looks better." Her perfume was overpowering, her smile venomous. I ended up on the edge, half cut off in the frame. As the flash popped, laughter rippled through the group, Sophia's loudest of all. I forced a smile, but inside, rage simmered. This wasn't just exclusion, it was deliberate humiliation. A public declaration that I didn't belong. Stepping outside for air, I overheard them around the corner, Karen and Sophia. Voices low but clear through the drizzle. $51 million splits nicely between us, Karen said. She doesn't need to know. Sophia snorted. She'd just waste it anyway. My blood ran cold. 51 million? Grandpa's estate? They were plotting to cut me out entirely, hoarding it like thieves in the night. I backed away silently, heart pounding. Betrayal wasn't a scream, it was this, quiet scheming in the shadows. Grandpa's words echoed, "Patience, Emily. Let them dig their own graves." Back home in my cramped apartment in Beaverton, the black dress still on, I poured myself a glass of cheap Cabernet and sat at the kitchen counter. The rain tapped insistently on the window, mirroring the storm in my chest. $51 million. The number looped in my mind, mixing with the day's slights. They'd always seen me as the quiet one, the pushover, the daughter who worked 2 jobs as a librarian and freelance editor just to make ends meet, while Sophia flaunted her designer bags. But Grandpa knew different. 2 weeks before he passed, in his oak-paneled study smelling of pipe tobacco, he gripped my hand. "They'll underestimate you, Emily. That's your edge. I've made sure of it." Arrangements, he'd called them. I hadn't pressed then. But now I understood. Sipping the wine, bitter on my tongue, I vowed I wouldn't confront them yet. I'd wait, gather the pieces. Silence wasn't surrender, it was strategy. The family gathering at Karen's house the next day was a farce. The living room brimmed with relatives picking over Grandpa's belongings like vultures at a yard sale. Karen doled out items with queenly authority, an antique clock to herself, a pearl necklace to Sophia. "He always said it suited you," she cooed. When it came to me, a cracked ceramic mug, dusty from the attic. Sophia smirked. "Perfect for you, small and forgettable." Laughter tittered from a few ants. I took it without a word, the humiliation burning like acid. But as I drove home, the mug rattling on the passenger seat, fury crystallized. They gave me crumbs because they feared I'd claim the loaf. That night, alone with the rain, I started logging it all, every slight, every whisper. Evidence, I told myself. Fuel. Dinner at Karen's that evening ramped up the tension. The long table was set like a battlefield, with her at the head, Sophia at her right hand. I was shoved to the end, near the mismatched chairs. Sophia dominated the conversation, boasting about her close bond with Grandpa. "He relied on me," she said, eyes flicking my way. Then, louder, "Some people barely showed up. But hey, at least they're here for the food." The room went quiet. Then uneasy chuckles. Karen sipped her wine. Silent approval. My fork trembled in my hand, but I breathed deep. Later, in the kitchen clearing plates, Sophia cornered me. "Maybe you'll get his old socks. That's about your speed." A uncle nearby laughed. I dried the dishes slowly, logging every barb. They thought my quiet was weakness. It was a weapon sharpening in the dark. At Aunt Linda's smaller gathering, the whispers turned vicious. "Emily's always been reckless with money," one aunt hissed. No wonder he didn't trust her. Lies. All of it, I'd scrimped and saved. Balanced budgets like a pro. But they were building a case. painting me unworthy. Then Karen pulled me aside, handing me an envelope. A gesture, she said. Inside? A $5,000 check. Your share. Don't make trouble. Sophia watched from the doorway, smirking. Humiliation crashed over me. This was hush money. A bribe to vanish. I handed it back. You can't buy me off. The room froze. You're afraid, I said louder. Afraid I'll expose you. Zania's laugh was sharp. You'll regret this. But as I walked out into the cool night, resolve ignited. The price of their betrayal? My awakening. The envelope arrived a week later. Grandpa's handwriting on the front. Inside. A letter. They'll try to erase you. But stand steady. I've left you the majority because you were there without asking. Tears blurred the words. A notebook too. His observations. Sophia craves attention over loyalty. Karen fears loss. Clings to control. And me, Emily. Steady heart. Validation washed over me like a balm. He saw me. Proof against their lies. Calls came next. Grandpa's old colleague. Tom, they're selling properties fast. It's shady. Then a fabricated medical eval from their lawyer. Vera. Claiming Grandpa was incompetent. Fury boiled, tarnishing his memory to steel. A cease and desist followed. Threats of lawsuits. But I wasn't alone. Grandpa's lawyer, Maria, delivered the will and a video, his voice clear, naming me heir. Neighbors and his housekeeper corroborated calendars of my visits, testimonies of his sharpness. Pieces aligned. A fortress of truth. The final meeting in Karen's grand room crackled with tension. I played the video to Emily. The study won the estate. Gasps. Sophia slammed the table. Lies. But Maria confirmed, airtight. I signed the papers with Grandpa's pen, claiming it all. Sophia stormed out. Karen trembled. Justice. Not revenge, though it tasted sweet. Fallout hit hard. Whispers turned on them, reputations shredded. Karen visited, accusing me of ruin. He'd hate this. No, I said. He'd hate your greed. Sophia's social media rants backfired, exposing her. I walked Grandpa's house, mine now, placing his notebook in a case. The millions? Secondary. The real win emerging from silence. Unbroken. They paid the price of betrayal. I claimed my strength.